What up, my freaks? RuinusInsight here with part 8 of my Total War Warhammer 3 Malakai Makaisson Immortal Empires campaign. So as we saw last time, another massive battle against the Norskins saw the Slayers once again slay their way through droves. Once again they took massive damage for their trouble, but well, they're Slayers, that's kind of what they want, so everybody is happy. We've taken the Monolith of Bjorkil Bloody Hand, and Norska, or at the very least the World Walkers, are pretty much done for with only a single settlement at Troll Fjord remaining. Lovely. Well done to Mistress Sonori. Unfortunately, we've had the Decadent Host declare war on us, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, which means we'll have to be facing off against Siggy and probably droves of Chaos Warriors soon. But not to worry, everyone is equaled when they're a scorched lump of flesh beneath the Hell Cannons and the Gyrocopters with brimstone guns, and hopefully soon the Iron Drakes as well. In terms of what we gotta do this turn, let's find out, shall we? Stochel doesn't have to move, and frankly, there's probably not anything we have to do this turn other than spend a little Oath Gold. Forge. Let's see, we've got more banner runes to use. A Rune of Courage gives you immunity to Psychology, which is quite useful against Chaos Warriors. Ancestor Rune gives you Expert Charge Defense, and entities cannot die while... Presumably this means they can't die while being charged, since the duration is infinite. And since it affects all allies in range, if we essentially blob up in a choke point, this could be quite nice. We have the Master Rune of Grungni, which we can't afford right now. The Rune of Sanctuary, which is just straight up 15% physical resistance, and could be quite useful. We have the Master Rune of Valea, which is perfect vigor. Rune of Battle, just straight up damage dealing, and lastly the Rune of Dismay. Very, very useful to ranged armies, but probably not compared to the other two runes. I'm gonna say we'll go for the Ancestor Rune, and just because I like the idea of the Expert Charge Defense, which, just to double check, you guys don't have, right? You guys have Charge Defense versus large foes, specifically, eh? We do have Expert Charge Defense on the regular Longbeards. What about the Slayer units? Do they have any kind of charge defenses? You guys have none, or at the very least the Slayer Pirates have none, and you guys... Doom Slayers, yeah, no, you guys don't have any kind of charge defense. So I suppose the 15% physical resistance could also be really nasty on these guys. You know what, I'm actually going to say the 15% physical resistance. Should be very good. And it'll also keep... Oh, wrong thing. It'll also keep the Slayers a little bit more alive. And especially the Doomseekers, which are dishing out so much damage. Rune of Sanctuary will start. And let's pop it on a few units. Sadly, it seems that the runes don't work on the Goblin Heroes. It seems that the Goblin Heroes are treated by the game not as ranged units, but as melee units, and the artillery pieces, I guess, are just incidental, which means that all of these runes are completely useless in this army, so we can take them away. We can, however, give them the Rune of Sanctuary, and... I didn't give you the Rune of Stoicism because the Unbreakable is useless to this entire army. It does give Expert Charge Defense to one unit and give more bonus versus large, but I think we'll just keep the Rune of Sanctuary here. And we might as well give more Runes of Sanctuary to other lords. You can have one Malakai, and we'll give one to Stochel as well. Beautiful. And you can keep the Seed of Rebirth. There isn't really much else to give you. Shield Breakers, Subterranean Siege Battles, and Intercept Battles, and doesn't really help us. Maybe when we start fighting the Skaven, we'll give that to, well, whomsoever should be fighting them, but otherwise, we'll need Oath Gold for items, which we don't yet have. Alright, the rest of that looks good to me. Monolith. We probably will want to build something here. A recruit master engineer, eh? I am very tempted to build this just so that we could get an engineer into this army. And on the other hand, maybe we could do with that for now. We could start on our first Oath Gold building as well, though it is pretty expensive. It'll pay for itself in 5 turns, and it's gonna be a while until we get here. Just generate a little bit of Oath Gold. No construction cost reductions, but this place will grow slowly, so... maybe. You know what? Fine, let's go for the trading depot here. I hope I don't regret this. Don't make me regret this game. Alright, and I believe with that we are good to go. We still have to get the 2 additional gyro bombers into this army, but we can do that next turn. Skip the rest of this. Skip outpost, etc. We are liable to get attacked here, but Bernie's still saving his points. You know what, maybe it's safer to not save them so much. Let's get hard to hit again, because who knows. Once again, if there are 2 armies here, it's going to be more of a hassle. End turn. Let's see what they've got. Especially since we're suffering attrition, and thus, well... we'll take damage after taking damage, as it were. Alright, anything else here? Yes, so they will attack. The ambush will fail. Oh! The ambush failed, but they attacked anyway. Well, that's nice to see. I'm proud of all y'all. You can, I guess, keep that well, you know what? You're always the tip of the spear. Maybe we actually, for now, give you the Rune of Sanctuary instead. Is that going to be better than the Expert Charge Defense, is the question. The answer is I'm not sure. Let us... we can also put it on our Lord. You know what? Who else is going to fight Harry the Hammer? Who, fortunately, doesn't have magical damage. Unfortunately, they've got the Blue Scribes and a Chaos Sorcerer and another Chaos Sorcerer. Well, that's not going to be great. But we'll try to deal. I wonder... I wonder if we can burninate the Blue Scribes with our 2 gyrocopters with brimstone guns. I'd be curious to find out. Either way, let's put it on you for now, and then we'll figure it out as... put it on the Lord for now, and then we'll figure it out as we go. Go. Alrighty, here we go. The ZHARTROMM army is certainly seems to be getting a lot of these choke point fights, which has been working out decently well, though this one might be a little bit more interesting. Also a map I don't really remember. I think I might have seen it once before, but once again, not a lot of campaigns are generally up around in this area, so that kind of explains why some of these maps are new to me. Ooh, what's down there? I see some light down there. Okay, let me zoom. But anyway, what was I getting at before I got distracted by the map? Yeah, so this might be pretty interesting. One, there's a lot of elevation going on around in this particular map. We can see on the mini-map that there's a lot of craziness all around. Some woods and 2 choke points, but the choke points are far enough away so that we can't really deploy in both of them, or at least it would probably be disadvantageous to do so. I had to make a choice or a bet as to which of the choke points to deploy towards, this one or this one, and it looks like this time around I bet wrong, as most of the enemy army is deployed over on the right side, and a relatively minimal amount is on the left. I mean, of course, this will mean we'll have no problem easily burning down and destroying these guys, but it does mean that we won't be able to take advantage of the choke for the majority of the enemy forces. Anyway, we're going to peel away our units of gyrocopters, and they're going to try to cook the Blue Scribes up in the sky. I am very, very scared of this hero and what it can do, especially after using it to pretty obnoxious effect in my Archaon campaign, so these guys need to go. It's going to take probably quite a long time for the Brimstone guns to knock them down. This isn't really what the Brimstone guns are for. But it's not like we can do anything else, especially since the flame cannons are out of range, and at least the brimstone guns will keep the Blue Scribes away from the rest of our forces. More fire continues working though, as the flame cannons burn down some chaos spawn. Looks like a few units of doggos try to move towards our main line, only to get hit with the Grim Delvers, as well as additional fire from the flame cannons. No, I'm really liking the Grudge Rakers in this army. I wasn't going to put any of them in here. Maybe we can combine a few units of Grudge Rakers with the Iron Drakes. I mean, they're not technically fire damage, but being explosive damage, it's still kind of there, I would say. It's certainly tempting. I wouldn't have much of a main line, but, well, I was going to put a few units of Longbeards in here as the main line. We'll see what we have room for. Anyway, still holding the choke, but the enemy is having a little bit of a tough time moving towards us. A Cold Hellbrass, I believe, is down here as well. No, that's Harry the Hammer. Harry the Hammer is down here as well, together with one of the enemy Chaos Sorcerers. But it looks like the Blue Scribes are done for. Don't see their death animation a lot, but it's a pretty neat one, you got to admit. It's interesting that all the Tzeentchian, like, village also has a death animation where he doesn't really die, but teleports away. So, that's sort of true for the Blue Scribes, perhaps, as you don't see them just, well, explode or anything like that. But anyway. Anyway, here comes the enemy Chaos Sorcerer. We're going to try to cook him a little bit, and oh damn, that volley took about 80% of his HP, though that was a combination of Quarrelers and Grudge Rakers and Flame Cannons all at once. And now it's time to burninate Mr. Harry the Hammer. Obviously, we could face him in melee, but I feel like there's no need to take additional damage on our Lord and Hero while he's relatively slowly trying to make his way towards us. And as we've seen before, the Flame Cannons are relatively okay at this sort of thing, and we've got the Grudge Rakers to dish out additional damage. Plus, by the looks of it, he has enough mass to not get staggered, or perhaps, unlike the cannons, there's not enough impact to the Flame Cannons to actually knock an enemy down, which might actually be a really good thing, because then the unit doesn't get invincibility frames from being knocked down. Only something to consider, though Harry the Hammer won't be the one considering it as he goes down in a hail of fire, gun and regular alike. There we go. Fortunately as well, we have plenty of ammunition remaining. These are not goblin hewers after all, so they can continue to fire at the main enemy army, which is kind of a raid out here while the rest of their friends get destroyed. Alright, nice. A few of the enemy units back here will take a few more shots, but we will now reposition ourselves to get ready to hit the next enemy army. Looks like a Seeker Chariot will try to peel away and around our main stack. We're going to try to interfere with them by sending the units of Dwarf Warriors, and I believe our Runesmith, who's in here somewhere, to intercept them. As well as a longer, there's the Runesmith, and oh, Flame Cannon, be careful with that, please. Yeah, as well as the Longbeards with great weapons. Catch the Seekers, don't let them go through and hit our back line. And our relatively unprotected artillery pieces. Now, one thing that's pretty neat in this particular battle that the AI did that I was not at all expecting. These guys, they're hidden. They're not visible to me right now because they're traveling in the shadow of this cliffside. And it looks like the entire enemy army is advancing this way, but the enemy is pulling a clever little flank here towards our unprotected backline, which is really good, especially as I assumed, never assume people, that this choke point would have been clear at this point. Very nice, AI. Let's see what they can achieve with that. Out here, we're still trying to give chase to those darn Seeker Chariots, but they're a little bit too fast. We've got doggos moving through the woods as well, and the units of gyrocopters with brimstone guns trying their darndest to set doggo and widow afire. It's a little bit of a shame that you can't send or set woods on fire, but not a big deal. Anyway, some trolls trying to move in but get absolutely obliterated by a combination of the flame cannons, rather, as well as, once again, those Grudge Rakers, and finally, the Doggos and the Marauder Horsemasters arrive from their hidden position. Good for them. The enemy probably would have also been even better to send those Marauder Horsemen into melee to help the Doggos out, to kill off the crew of one of these Hell Cannons. Hell Cannon is very much in trouble, down to the dregs of its HP, lower than 30%. We're going to try to back it off through the other units of crew while we move other units in to reinforce. In fact, the gyrocopter is going to use their mass to try to save the Flame Cannon's crews. by essentially keeping the enemy sort of locked in place. It does seem to work pretty well. I kind of got this idea from the from using the plague drones in this manner in the Tamarkan campaign, as I was surprised to see how well a single unit of plague drones could keep Tamarkan himself in place, like locking him in place despite the ludicrous mass available to the Toad Dragon. Fortunately, here it does seem just barely the gyrocopters managed to bail out and save that flame cannon crew. Ooh, that would have been unfortunate. Would have been unfortunate indeed, but with that, the battle is ours. The Blue Scribes and Harry the Hammer are out, and the rest of the enemy units will run. Alright, well, good job to the AI for managing to get around our army, and we essentially have no choice but to attract replacements. The thing I'm worried about is that since we're in attrition territory in trying and failing that ambush, the attrition might kill the damaged flame cannon that got flanked and hurt, so... it's a lot of money, but oh well. Attract replacements, and we shall see. Please don't die to attrition, Hell Cannon. Wolfric the Wanderer once again wants peace. He always seems to want peace now. Isn't that funny? And what do we have here? Chaos Undivided Corruption for only 3k, not worth it. It's a lot of corruption, and the safeguard would actually help us here because we have a few places that are corrupted. Nah, we're still okay in terms of Hell Cannons, we're fine. Constructor on Snorri. Well, that's great for Snorri, though he isn't really a constructor, but I guess it works. Let's knock out the remnants of this army real quick with an auto-resolve, and hopefully we can still move far enough to encamp here, and hopefully he... Oh, you gotta be kidding me, that killed off one of the Hell Cannons. Really, game? Really? Wow. How did that even happen? I blame myself. Oh well, alright, fine. Check replacements again, hopefully it comes back. It did. Alright, encamp. Stay in our territory. There won't be much healing, but hopefully it'll be enough. And we proceed to the Twisted Towers, which admittedly don't have much in the way of defenses. Also, I noticed that Acold Hellbrass is still there. So Siggy had Acold and the Blue Scribes, and he had the... and he had Harry the Hammer. Though the two Tzeentch ones are the more confusing ones, because it's... Why does it feel like the Slaneshi faction, or Chaos Warriors Slaneshi faction, feels more... Tzeentch than it should, perhaps, but anyway. Dowie firepower will be needed in this army. Right now, this wouldn't help too many units, but it'll help a few. Eventually, we'll have Iron Drakes in this, and we'll get that. And Blessed by Grungni will not work for too many units as yet either, so and that's what we'll do. Let's level up the rest of you. Ooh, we do have the Rune of Hearth and Home now, set immunity to psychology, spell resistance for enemy armies, and missile resistance for enemy armies. I'm gonna have to go with that, Warbreaker. And, oh, and Rune of Hearth and Home, beautiful. Both of you. And next up we have the Thane, Bernie, who still doesn't have Ironbeard, but we're close. And I guess now we can start saving the points. Yeah, or... Well, continue saving the points, but save the points is what I'm getting at. Architect Zufbarden, you, sir. You're supposed to get to the Monolith of Flesh, so to the Monolith you go. Then, at the Monolith, we will build it up for 250, very nice. And that's the only thing we can build here. Forbidden Citadel, you have that refectory upgrade that we needed while we head on to the Altar of Spawns. And this we can get for only 720, beautiful. Alright, at least the public order is starting to look good here. You can go to the Winter Pyre and the altar next. And the growth here is still awful, but, you know, dwarfs grow slow. That's pretty normal. It's pretty par for the course. Otherwise, what do we got here? I noticed that the Fecondites are still running around and being annoying. I really would like Castalton to declare war on them, but he kind of just continues to refuse. We've tried basically every episode, and he really doesn't want to do that. Oh, this is going to be an issue. It looks like a rogue army has spawned. Man. Just like that darn beast herd that spawned in our allied territory. Game is just trying to annoy us. You cannot reach Baelgar, which means I think we can ignore him, go into March stance, and proceed all the way to the edge of the monolith of Bjorkil, so that we can hopefully knock out Trollfjord next turn and complete the destruction of the Wanderer. The World Walkers, whatever. Rorik, we briefly summoned him as a temporary lord. Now, Blackblood Pass, we don't need to build anything, but we need to check everything else. Monolith, 1940, eh? We are positive, but we probably won't be positive for long. It'll pay for itself. Though it'll take a long time to pay for itself. Long enough? Well, you know what? If we do this now, by the time that Architect Zufbarden comes around, we'll be able to build the next tier with the reductions. So I think yes. We will want to delete the Gunsmith's Forge here. I guess the question is, do we want to delete it now? And the answer, I think, is yes. We'll want to replace it with a growth structure because there's no growth here whatsoever. Plus, we can get some of our money back. Winterpire and stuff is fine. And Krakadrak, we're waiting to get our troops to ya. Next up, Malakai. You, sir. You need to do two things. The first is you need to figure out how you're getting to the Tower of Torment, which is this way, as it looks like Boris wants to grab the monolith of Bubonicus, which is fine. You're going to do... Really? They're military allies and we can't recruit the Skyhammer? Okay, well, I guess we'll be keeping Ekron Minus for now, for a little bit. And, oh, we can't get anything out of this. Oh, which, okay. Okay, game, fine. I wanted to do that for a little fighting, because I wanted to do the Eyes of Grungni battle, but... Nah, we're still gonna do it. Let's give this a read and then let's fight it. This is the... Do we do this one, or do we do... And what is this? A bunch of Dark Elves, and this gives us the... range increase. Yeah, there's some nice stuff in here. Ambush defense chance we don't really care about, but the income from post-battle loot will be nice. Yeah, fine. We'll do this quest. We will do it. We also have one of the legendary fights available as well. I don't see it here, but I take it we can select it in Malakai's Adventures. Anyway, let's take a quick read here. On a serendipitously clear day, a report is received of a flare fired into the sky from an unknown source in the distance. After the area it originated from was reconnoitered, it was discovered that the flare was a rudimentary but effective device built by a young dwarf engineer. Unexpectedly, a member of a lost dwarf regiment thought to have been wiped out many weeks prior. While being held captive with his force by the Dark Elves, the Tinkerer had managed to cobble together a makeshift distress flare using scrap metal and ignitable ore. Such ingenuity certainly deserves rescue, but aside from that, there are innocent dwarf and manling lives at stake. All who toil under the Nagarothi do not stay alive for long. Well, they keep dwarfs alive for quite a while to, build all their stuff, so it's not a pleasant life, but they are alive. Teleport. Yes. Oh, what do we have here? Okay, first of all, the Rune of Sanctuary. We could give that to Gotrek to give him even more resistance, because we're always sending him into danger. Couldn't do that. The Rune of Penetration, once again, can't go on any of these, but we will eventually put it on our organ guns, because we're not going to keep 4 cannons in here. Cannons are nice, don't get me wrong, but, well... And just for variety, I want 2 and 2. Anyway, here we go. Let's do this. This looks like a pretty fun fight. We got some Executioners, a Hydra, 2 Hydras, I should say. Some Doomfire Warlocks, a bunch of Sisters of Slaughter. One of my favorite units in the Dark Elf roster as well. Very nice. Go. Malakai Makaisson is attempting a daring rescue of a young master engineer and his regiment from a dark elf slave camp that holds captive men as well as dwarfs. The slayer engineer's oath to defend human allies means reinforcements from the Empire will fight alongside him, though he certainly needs little help or encouragement to fight slavers, and even less to punish the dark elves for oppressing his kin. Then afterwards, perhaps an
It was a canny trick our brother used in bringing us here. I'd expect nothing less of an engineer. Safety's off, lads. Let's free our king with our Ungi allies, shall we? I bet there's all kinds of poor starts trapped in those mines. Our engineer friend can free them if we provide some good old black powder distraction. Those dark elf wazzicks aren't gonna know what's hit them. Whatever that black ark throws at us, we'll crack their heads and send them packing back to Naga. But bad luck doesn't come in threes.
All right, okay, camera, stop jumping around. What are you doing? Ooh, we got Dark Elf Towers in the background, and that does make sense. Anyway, here we go. Looks like the first army arrayed against us is the weaker, more basic army here, and it shouldn't pose any kind of problem or threat to us in any manner. It's the second army with all those elites, and us not knowing which side of the map they will approach from, and that's going to probably cause some issues. At any rate, we begin the bombardment with our cannons, firing along the lines of enemies sort of parallel to their movement, and probably dishing out massive amounts of damage because of it. Unfortunately for us, the enemy Reaper Bolter is sort of hidden behind a hill, a little kind of hull down, and is thus going to be fairly difficult for us to hit. But oh well. I'm not 100% sure what exactly this army is doing. At first I thought that they might be heading towards the gyrocopters, but there might be an objective that's kind of invisible, in that they're trying to sort of head towards this location where the mines are, where the dwarfs and the humans are all trapped. And if that's the case, that's great for them, but it's well, it's not going to work out so well for them, because we're going to be able to hit their entire army like this without even needing to move forward. And it's just plain going to be a lot of damage, as all of these enemies are facing in the worst possible position to allow our cannons to fire upon them. That's the least eloquent way I could have possibly said all that. But anyway, you guys get it. Anyway, the firing, the bombardment continues upon the enemies. Gonna try to get a few shots off with our gyro bombers as well. I do like the black arc in the distance as well, looking absolutely massive compared to what we got here. I mean, to be fair, for all the ingenuity of the dwarven engineers, the black arcs are far crazier things than a thunder barge or anything like that, being basically a floating mobile city. But anyway, maybe Malakai dreams of building some kind of something a little bit similar to that. Although the Spirit of Grungni is actually huge, it's way bigger than this. So there's also that to be said. But anyway, bombardment continues. The enemy army is in pretty bad shape already, having lost about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of their units to routing. Getting some frame drops, and maybe it's just the camera being wacky, I'm not sure. But anyway, the enemy Dreadlord keeps getting knocked down by the various cannon fire. It looks like the harpoon from the Spirit of Grungni actually managed to miss. But it looks like we managed to... Yeah, what the heck, camera? Why do you keep doing that? Strange. I don't know. It wasn't doing it in any of the other battles. Maybe there's something about this quest fight in particular. Our reinforcing army has arrived, and we've got some gyrocopters in addition to a big old pile of humans and... This unit's just called prisoners. Oh, interesting. I didn't even notice that. Prisoners, peasant mobs, we got some Bretonians, some Imperials, and some Dwarfs all working together. Makes sense. More peasant mobs. And more prisoners. And the prisoners are basically just flagellants, but anyway, that's a big old blob of units. The rest of our army has not even really had to engage, with the exception of the Air Force, as the cannons continue to fire and the Air Force continues to obliterate the enemy units, who can do little to nothing about all this. Of course, now that our allies have arrived, the enemy will move to engage them, but I think they're so heavily damaged at this point that they stand little to no chance of doing anything to them. At the end of the day, though, they were never going to be a threat, and it's the new army that's threat. Tons of Black Ark Corsairs, we got Doomfire Warlocks, a couple of Hydras, those Executioners, another Dreadlord and Master, some nice stuff in here. We'll see. We'll see how it goes, because they are arriving on the left side of the map, and we probably won't be able to get a good firing solution on them, especially as they will be shielded by this forest as they approach. We're going to try to reform the rest of our army to position ourselves to get ready to fight them off, and just leave the cleanup of the other force to our allies here. We can get a few more shots from our regular gyrocopters and this, and the gyro bombers as well, at this Dreadlord here, who probably not on purpose has dodged some of those shots, but will break with the rest of the army. And there we go. Well, looks like we don't have to deal with the rest of this. The Spirit of Grungni can move towards the newly arriving enemy army, while the rest of our forces move to meet them in battle, as in our melee troops. Gotrek and Felix trying to move towards this little pile of Doomfire Warlocks back here. I'll try to prevent them from casting their Doom Bolt on one of our artillery pieces or something like that. You guys think we can't see ya? Because we can see ya. Alright, well, here they go. They're going to activate the Doom Bolt, and we have sent the Ekron Miners forward specifically, so they're the ones hit by it. Better them who we are not going to keep in this army than, well, somebody who we are. They've got other places where we can put them. Looks like the Ekron Miners will also be mobbed by some Harpies in addition to those Doomfire Warlocks, though at the same time we managed to knock out a unit of Dark Riders real quick. The Doomfire Warlocks try to charge on through, but if they get too close, they're just going to start taking hits from our Slayer Pirates, though it looks like... And this little hill is preventing them from firing a little bit. Should have deployed them a little bit more forward, but we'll move them forward ourselves shortly. Gotrek and Felix in the middle of the fight. Felix taking on the War Hydra, and Gotrek chasing something around. Felix continuing to get knocked down by everything that looks at him. Just constantly. And the Doomfire Warlocks are still in the fight. Well, good job to them. Not for much longer, mind you, as their Slayer Pirates take a better position and can now fire upon them, which will make sure that the Doomfire Warlocks are out of the picture much, much quicker. Despite their pretty nice 40% physical resistance. The second Hydra has joined the fray, and Felix gets knocked down yet again, while we fire upon the Hydras and the Black Ark Corsairs around them alike. Of course, so that's not all that's happening. Over in the background, we have our Air Force continuing to harass the enemy line. All the enemy units, especially the range units of Black Ark Corsairs with handbows, suffering under the ministrations of the gyrocopters and gyro bombers. Our Slayer Pirates have moved forward and are gunning down any enemies that they can reach, though it looks like as few of the enemy regular Black Ark Corsairs will move on in. Ulrika finally gets her chance to actually use a spell, and will activate a penumbral pendulum through the line of enemies here, including that Hydra, and send a bunch of the enemy Black Ark Corsairs flying. It would have been nice to see the penumbral pendulum behead every head of the Hydra all at once. But it's hardly needed, as the Hydra will break due to a sheer amount of fire from our cannons. Alright, very nice. More enemy units are moving in. It's the Executioners this time, but we've been saving our Grape Shot specifically for them, and it's doing quite decently in knocking them out. And it looks like with that, with the Executioners all broken, the enemy lord doesn't even attempt to join the fray, and the battle is completely ours. Very, very nice. Close victory apparently, but probably due to ammunition expenditure rather than any kind of damage, as I think in this particular battle, really only our Ekron Miners took any real hits. Alright, that was a pretty darn fun battle. Didn't get too much value out of our allies, admittedly, but yeah, I was very amused when, I don't know if it was visible in the replay, but in the middle of the battle, the game was like, the engineer is free. He brought and he brought gyrocopters with him. He must have been busy in that cave or in that mine, and I was just thinking he built gyrocopters in a cave with a box of scraps, which is hilarious, but fantastic. Let's see, we got healing that we probably don't need. Frankly, we were going to delete the Ekron miners soon to be replaced with more gyro bombers, so I think we'd rather have the cash. Even though this is basically full healing, but nonetheless, cash it is. Alright, another dwarfen tattooist for us, and we get the Eyes of Grungni as well, which is going to go on to Malakai. I guess then the item that... Okay, wait, let me just see here. We wanted to get one of these, a Prospector Spyglass, but I guess we won't be able to put that on Malakai. We'll have to put it on the engineer in his army. Alright, that's fine. We're heading to the Tower of Torment, where we can hopefully get our units. Like so, and just to double check. No, we still can't get these guys in here. Horde or not. Oh well, not a big deal. I'm gonna start recruiting another army soon. Probably a secondary army to help Malakai out as, well, he can't take everything, which is something of an issue for him. Anyway, nothing to upgrade here, at least not right now. It's just not worth our time or effort. And is there anything else that we need to do this turn? Morgus Redbeard, who are you and why do you oh, right, that was the reward for our fight there. You have Ancient, melee attack and weapon strength plus 15. Honestly, not that useful. I would rather have another Master Engineer, but at the same time, we're at 4 out of 3, so it'll be a while until we can get one. So for now, we're going to have you move towards the Firebeard army, and we'll hopefully make good use of them. Alright, unless we get another Master Engineer, because we can get them up and running anywhere. But we need capacity and all. Anyway, double check Diplo and then end the turn, I believe. Let's see, anything interesting Diplo-wise? Great Orthodoxy nearly ready for that defensive alliance. Worldwalkers really want peace. Arguelon is getting wrecked by Clan Squire and the Bloody Hands, and I do mean wrecked, as it does seem that Tolzin and the Great Oak have both fallen, and it's all red all around them. Yeah, those guys are having a bad time. I wonder if Clan Angrand is alive still. Actually, let's check this. Great Book of Grudges, Legendary Lords 1. Ooh. Oh, Grumbrindle died. He has no faction. Well, we should... Oh, wait, but we'll get the... Do we get the negative public order from this? I don't know. But if we do, I think we can't risk it right now. Let's give it a little bit of a while. And fix up our public order a little bit. Maybe wait until we get Thane's authority in 5-6 turns? That's a little bit of a while. I'd love to get him on field, but at the same time, it's not like he could lead an army right now either and would cost us an insane amount of cash. We'll wait for it. I'd love to get the White Dwarf in here, but, well, he's next. He is the cheapest, and he's available. I now forgot... I got so excited by this, I forgot why I was checking the book. Yeah, and I no longer remember, so we're just gonna skip the rest of this and end the turn. Alrighty. Also, I no longer remember the engagement threshold. It was reached last episode, and thus this will obviously be an hour episode, which is pretty clear by now. And if I haven't said this already, the offer still stands: 300 likes and 50 comments. And next episode will be an hour long as well. Buck the Lethal of Clan Ferric will declare war on us. Sure, Clan Ferric, go for it. Why not? How's Festus? Still running around. Serena Catron's main stack appears to be trying to hunt him down. There's that scrutinized guild leaders up and running. We got another choir master, but all of that isn't super relevant. This little army will probably destroy itself, and ooh, extra hero in their army, eh? Good for them. Yo, can you reach this? Yes, you can. Trophy Ward, I believe, is the last of these guys' settlements, and we can auto-resolve it. I'll resolve you. Ruin of Sanctuary on... one of these guys. Now, the Brotherhood of Grimnir tends to be in the lead all the time, but they have better melee defense, which means I think we're better off giving additional physical resistance to the other unit. Auto-resolve. And relatively minimal losses. Occupy. Alright, Vanaheim Mountains secured. Monolith of Bjorkil, we were going to build a something here. I believe we were going to have to build the barley field because it's just growing so slowly. We don't need a Thane. And we already have a Thane. Ancestral Blood Valea, it's fine, but it's not something we care about. Power the guilds as well for you. And I guess collect income from for now. Pretty likely that Be'lakor will declare war on us and Kanquata here. Jungle? Was this thing always jungle? Huh. I mean, I guess that is a lizardman territory. Okay, sure. Albion jungle. I mean, this doesn't look very jungly to me, this, but okay. Are you telling me the Albion giants run around in the jungle? But anyway, let's see. Malakai, looks like you should be able to reach the Tower of Torment next turn. How healthy are you, incidentally? Hey, your army's pretty good.
For the motherland.
Well, there's also the rats to consider and all of this to consider. Yeah, wait. Let's figure this out. First of all, we still have to move you, architect. Student of architecture as you are. To the Altar of Spawns. We cannot yet build a dwarf keep here, unfortunately, but we can build it to Winterpire instead. So we'll head to Winterpire immediately, and then we'll try to get to Krakadrak past it. This is to the lair of the Troll King, which does not need to construct anything, only Krakadrak does. So, Winterpire, we'll start by building that very cheap trinket maker, and then upgrading both this and that, and the other. Next turn. Stutchel. Are you able to reach the Twisted Towers? In a single turn, you are not, meaning you are going to go into a camp, and Siggy ran away. Unless he's trying to ambush us. All I know is that he's not at the Twisted Towers, and all I also know is that we're not going to reach the second level of the Age of Reckoning, unfortunately. Or the next level, rather. The third level, which is when we don't get a debuff. Ugh, that's going to hurt. And we have Grudge Settler units, which are going to be extra costly, too. Oh well. Once again, what can you do? Morgus Redbeard. Go. You have places to be. Cazador, get gold. You're only here temporarily. We need you to go to this dilemma thing. It's been bothering me for a while, and I'd like it gone. Would it be faster to go by sea? Probably not. At least I doubt it. Alright, good. Technology. Thane's Authority. And I was thinking that maybe we should also do the... wait. We have a battle against the orcs here. He's in a stance. Yeah, okay, I think we'll save this for next episode, though, just because I feel like, well, I don't want to do... I want to save some quest battles, spread them out a little bit, you know? Otherwise, we get them all done, and then bam. Anything to be built here? I mean, there is stuff to be built, but nothing that we need to prioritize. Krakadrak will be built next turn. Tower of Krak. I have to go and loop around to you again. Do we need defenses here? What's the likelihood Festus goes there with a full stack? Hopefully low. We will need to build the first level of the refectory here, I think, and then when we jump down, we can upgrade the second and third level of everything there. Bay of Blades, how far are you, by the way? I mean, we could build a trinket maker at least. We'll probably need defenses there because these guys could sail out to it and destroy it easily, but a cheap level 1 trinket maker is worth our time. Help it. I guess we should also go there and build that reinforced gate, though it's not really super needed, admittedly. Also, Castalton, what are you doing? Are you gonna capture the Altar of the Crimson Harvest? You gonna sit there and be useless? What's up, buddy? What's up? Anyway. Another Diplo check, but nothing. Skip the rest of this, and then another turn. No, Malakai. And move you. I mean, oh, he would have moved himself, I guess, but still.
Blood along.
Proceed to the Tower of Torment. And there's a free, mysterious island there, but we probably don't need to head to sea. We need to destroy Archaon, that's the thing. Which means we'll have to... Wait, I didn't... Did I call our allies to help? A moment. They're at war with Cool and Warhost the Apocalypse. Good, good. No, I didn't. I was wondering if I had accidentally called them to help against the rats who declared war on us, but we're okay with that. Alright, now we can end the turn. Tower of Torment should be a quick little auto-resolve, and then we'll get the gyro bombers there. I will attempt not to forget this time. Let's hope that Siggy comes back, but doesn't try to go around our fire armies. That would be irritating. Military Alliance. No. Are they heading out to sea? No, still hanging around. Oh, did they destroy Serena Catrin's main stack? It looks like they did. And well, that's a shame. Would you please just declare war on them? Join war against the Fekendites. 4.9 for 16k they do it. For 16k. That's a little bit steep, I would wager. Alright, and you have no territory left, which means you should destroy yourself attempting to take the monolith of Bjorkil Bloody Hand, which means we can ignore you. Now, big question. Do we send you up north to deal with the Varg, or do we go this way to deal with the Scaling and deal with Festus? That's a question. Oh my, we've got armies here. Multiple armies. Ooh, Stochel. That's gonna be a toughie. That's gonna be a toughie indeed. And yet, it's also looking like it'll be a fun fight. We just have to make the decision as to where to send you though, sir. I think we go this way. We go this way, take the Altar of the Crimson Harvest, stand, pack Ice Bay, and then go around. I mean, setting sail, we could grab this, but I'm not sure it would be all that much faster. Would it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, probably 6 versus 1, 2, 3, 4, and then March stands probably 4. We can still grab those islands later. That's not a Skull Island, is it? Wow, there's a lot of islands here. We're gonna need to send some Slayer pirates out to sea, I'm thinking. Not necessarily right now, but eventually. Anyway, Snorri, go. You leave the Varg alone. They're not doing anything to us right now, and we'll deal with them later. Alright, next up we got building. Yet again. Winter Pyre. Yes to Dwarf Keep, which is free, and yes to Dwarf Tinkerer's Shop, which not free, but not expensive. Not Lair of the Troll King, but Krakadrak, which is... wait. Lair of the Troll King, Lair of the Troll King, Lair of the Troll King. Yeah, I guess we're gonna go around this way. Alright, go to Krakadrak. Because we'll still want to go around to Tower of Krak afterwards. Alright. And upgraded for free as well. Beautiful. That's 5,000 gold saved. It works for me. For the Hell Pit next, I guess. We'll keep on March stance. And then in 6 turns, you're gonna have to come back here again. Alright, who else needs... ooh, wait. Master Engineers? Nah, no. I want to check if there's a good new one. Let us go to you, sir. Go to that dilemma. Try not to get killed by one of Festus's armies. Morgus. I'm gonna join the Fire Army shortly. Stochel. Malakai. Wait, start with you. Because if we do the battle right now, I will forget. You guys know I will forget. Let's take the Tower of Torment. And to resolve that, obviously. And... we may want to actually trade this one for more value, so maybe it shouldn't be damaged. On the other hand, more money. Regular Occupy. I feel like Vampire Slayer. Oh, it was probably another one of these that got completed. That's all swell. We might want to trade this thing for like Stormwrack Mount, as we will probably want to take Tribe Slaughter, Pillar of Skulls, and most definitely Carrick Doom, as we have a quest there. Plus, this is all non-Chaos territory. Well, I mean, it's Chaos territory, but you know what I mean. Yeah. And if Boris Ursus can manage to win this, let's hope that he can. And hopefully not get wrecked by Archie before then. We'll see. That'll be good. Next up, we want the Sky Hammer. And Ekron Miners, sorry to say you're out. And another Gyro Bomber is in. There we go. Mission successful. Yay. I take it we had to build a bunch of Gyro Bombers. Yeah, maintaining 4 Gyro Bombers. And hey, they gave us our money back too. Fantastic. Totally did that on purpose, guys. Completely on purpose. Trust me. You can trust me. Anyway, Satchel, it's time, sir. This is gonna be a toughie, I will admit. But if you win this, then you will have basically destroyed all of these factions, so do it.
Let us settle this.
A valiant defeat indeed. We are going to get overrun, we absolutely are. Can we? Oh. We've got a bunch of... Oh, damn, the fascination is going to be real annoying. And Siggy himself will be an issue. But I suppose if we take too much damage, we can simply retreat. Go. Alrighty, here we go. Was this a good idea? I guess that remains to be seen. 2.5 stacks stand against the ZHARTROMM throng, and, well, it's do or die kind of moment. They've already been put in very dangerous situations, and it looks like that's going to continue here. And, hey, at the very least, it'll give us a very, very nice fight as we try to burn all of these forces of chaos to the ground. Now, in terms of the setup here, we're going to have to be very, very careful. One of the reasons this is probably a bad idea is because, well, a lot of our army is made up of basic dwarf warriors, tier 1 units that are inferior to chaos warriors by a fairly considerable margin, superior to marauders perhaps, but they certainly won't be able to take on chaos warriors, so that's the big issue. We'll also have to make sure that we obliterate the chaos warriors as much as we can before they move into melee, or they will simply overrun our lines, especially with those stats, and these are the regular sword and board chaos warriors as well, and the enemy armies have plenty of them to go around, and lots of fast movers, tier 3 units in the form of the chaos spawn. And what might be the biggest issue we have is that they have a lot of lords and heroes. 5 lords and heroes, tons of exalted heroes and chaos lords. 3 exalted heroes in this army alone, but yeah, 5 all told in the reinforcing army, plus Sigvald, and we got another chaos sorcerer of Slaanesh of Shadows on the war shrine there. The big problem with all this is, well, no exalted hero or chaos lord is threatened in any way by regular chaos dwarf or by regular dwarf warriors. They don't have enough armor piercing to threaten them, and they don't have enough melee attack, which is relatively low at only 35, to get through their very high defenses. Either them or regular warriors of chaos. They're meant to hold the line, and that's all they can do. The problem will be, how are we going to knock out all of those heroes and lords, all the while trying to not be overrun? Anyway, let's find out. We've sent a few of our units forward. We're actually targeting at this point all of our artillery, or the ones that can reach the grudge throwers, at that enemy hell cannon. It's only a single cannon perhaps, but it does need to be destroyed, and thus we're going to bend all the ammunition we have on our gyrocopters with brimstone guns in combination with our grudge throwers to try to knock it out. Alright, come on, it's got 30% of its HP, 10% of its HP, almost all of the crew are dead, and the cannon will go silent. We've actually killed off all the crew and left the cannon intact, which is almost surprising. I would have thought that the grudge throwers might have been able to cook it and destroy it, but no dice. Oh well, we shall have to deal. In the meantime, the enemy army is continuing to be bombarded by our grudge throwers at the very least, with as much as we can, us trying to focus down the very threatening chaos warriors, and a little bit of extra help from the gyrocopters with brimstone guns, though I fear that the flamethrowers are probably not going to be super effective against heavily armored troops. Base missile damage 13, base explosive damage 10, armor piercing missile damage is only 2, yeah. Which is actually an interesting consideration. Why wouldn't they be armor piercing? Yeah, they're not technically piercing armor, but wearing a big old suit of plate, would that really help you if you're being washed in a flamethrower? I feel like it wouldn't. So while it's technically not armor piercing, I feel like it would be quite effective at it. But anyway, I suppose the plate does protect your skin at any rate. Actually, no, you know what? It probably would help quite a bit. I mean, that's why a lot of the, well, Dwarf Iron Drakes and stuff have a very heavy armor after all as well. I guess it depends on the quality of the armor as well. And Chaos Warriors do have pretty good armor, probably not a lot of, well, okay, the lack of helmets on a lot of them, though, should be very much a problem, but that's Warhammer for you. Screw helmets, apparently. Anyway. Yeah, if there's not too many seams, a big ol' heavy armor plate would be very helpful against the flamethrowers. On the other hand, the flames of the flame cannons are so hot that they do more armor-piercing damage than regular damage. Which is interesting, because the brimstone guns aren't really comparable. I guess the brimstone guns just don't have a flame, and that's quite hot enough. Anyway, the enemy army is moving towards us. We have a, let's say, decent position up here. I would have actually preferred to have deployed even higher up the hill, but the problem was we needed to set up so that we could make use of this impassable little lava great maw pit that we have here, and at the same time for our artillery to actually be in range of Sigvald's army. At this point, there are 40 enemy units on the field. Reinforcements will come in later, but for now we have to contend with dealing with what we have. Over on the leftmost flank, it looks like the doggos and chariots, both Seeker and Chaos alike, are moving on in. But we have a sort of semicircle to protect us. Let's just hope that they can't get right through them, and it looks like at least a couple of those Seeker chariots can. Hopefully we can force them to engage. The Longbeards with great weapons, Grudge Settlers, should be just fine at those, destroying those chariots as well. And we're going to actually land the gyrocopters. They're not going to do any damage here, but they're also not particularly threatened by the... oh, did the enemy just use a Pit of Shades? Well, that's not good. That's going to really hurt this unit of Dwarf Warriors. Well, try to hold. Try to hold, friends. This is going to be ugly. Gyrocopters are there to use their mass to keep those chariots locked in place, such that we can make use of their, or such that they can't escape, and hopefully we can obliterate them. More chariots, Seeker chariots, and some Hellstriders are trying to move their way through into our back lines. We're going to send our Quarrelers with great weapons to actually meet them in melee, together with the second unit of the Longbeards. Now, the battle has only just begun, however, as more and more Chaos troops are getting ready to overrun us. We've done about a quarter of the damage to Sigvald, as well as we've had one of the flame cannons try to focus him. I was hoping to do as much damage as possible to him before he arrived, but we obviously couldn't have all the flame cannons firing on him, as they really needed to fire down at the enemy troops. Our dwarfen lines looking very, very small compared to the sheer number of enemies. Chariots and monsters like the Chaos Spawn working together with those piles of Marauders and piles of Chaos Warriors and Forsaken to try to overrun us. All we can do is hold while our cannons continue to fire. Unfortunately, the enemy is going to probably start getting a lot of mileage out of their exalted heroes, as we suspected. Bernie, our new Thane, is trying to knock out this exalted hero as well. That's the only thing we can do here, and we've even sent our runesmith, Hegenbor, whose name I probably won't remember, but Hegenbor to try to help out. Really need them to assassinate these exalted heroes. More and more enemy units still moving in, endless reinforcements it seems, and the balance of power still hovers roughly about 50%. It looks like some of the Chaos Spawn have managed to breach our lines and have made their way towards the Grimdelvers. Unfortunately, the Grimdelvers did manage to knock out the enemy Chaos Shrine in the center of the battle line, but now they're in trouble, and so is our center line. About half HP and about 15 to 10% HP on the Dwarven warriors there, and if the main line collapses, obviously the cannons will no longer be able to fire. Stochel Jarbeard is surrounded completely by Chaos Warriors and has been for quite a while, standing by himself among the dead of the Dwarf warriors that attempted to hold the line with him, and is fighting Villatresca, an exalted hero here. Presumably by the name of Villatresca, should be a Slaneshi exalted hero. Alright, do your best to hold there, Stochel. Your original nickname was Holdfast after all, so do your best, sir. Alright, otherwise it looks like over on the leftmost flank we're still doing relatively okay, at least in the sense that the Longbeards with great weapons, Grudge Settlers, one of our two best units, well, melee units, are able to anchor this flank. Same thing had to have happened here. The Longbeards with great weapons have entered the fray to try to hold back Siggy and the tide of Chaos Warriors, while our Runesmith and Bernie Arthane continue trying to kill off those exalted heroes. They managed to kill off one, but there's plenty more lords and heroes where that came from. Unfortunately, while we have managed to knock out a lot of the enemy infantry units, many, if not all of them, are broken and not shattered, which means they will come back if we're not careful. On top of that, there's still 40 units on the field. A few more monstrous infantry will arrive, 2 Chaos Spawn, as well as a unit of trolls that haven't even entered the fray yet, and who we're going to struggle with. Especially the regular Chaos Warriors, as they wouldn't really stand a chance against a unit of Trolls or Chaos Spawn and would get ripped apart because of the armor piercing there. Trying to help out Stochel a little bit here, bathing him in fire, but he was born of this. He can call upon the Divine Spark for protection while continuing to fight the enemy exalted hero. The idea here was to burn down all the Chaos Warriors surrounding him and allowing him to continue to duel the enemy hero surrounded by flames in this manner. And they're roughly exchanging blows right now, but Stochel is unbreakable with his rune of stoicism and will hold. Alrighty. Looks like the Longbeards are still fighting out here. Once again, those Chaos Warriors causing a lot of trouble, but a lot less so for the Longbeards than for the regular Dwarf Warriors. More enemies are rallying, and it looks like the Warriors of Dragonfire Pass, are down to the dregs of their units. Still holding as well, and they're unbreakable, so let's hope that they can keep the tide back and away from our cannons. For just a little bit longer at any rate. Our cannons are now starting to run out of ammunition, and unfortunately one of the cannons did get hit by a line of marauders and spawn, and we just couldn't hold those back as their crew were ripped apart. It's getting desperate here as the balance of power switches to about 70%, maybe 65% in the enemy's favor, and the enemy lords and heroes are still causing absolute havoc. The enemy infantry not as threatening, but the monsters and the lords and heroes are just not something our army is currently yet equipped to really deal with. And the AI is doing pretty good by now sending monsters and its lords and heroes into our back lines, which means that they can prevent all those artillery pieces from firing. At this point, our gyrocopters and brimstone guns have all run out of ammunition and are now flying around, getting the occasional rear charge in to annoy the enemy, as well as making sure that enemy units that are routing don't come back. There's a lot of these guys out here, but a few charges should see them hopefully shatter. Looks like lots of the enemy units are fighting to the death. Damn those AI cheats with their bonus leadership, but Stochel has finally won his duel against the enemy exalted hero, who will take a few more shots to the back from our Grim Delvers, but we'll book it on out of there. Sigvald's nearly at full health, having regenerated, unfortunately. Bernie and the Runesmith are both very low HP, but have knocked out yet another exalted Chaos Lord. Well, this isn't exalted here, just a Chaos Lord, but yeah. Still got to keep working on these, though I'm not entirely sure how we'll be able to handle Sigvald. Trolls and Chaos Spawn have joined the fray now as well. And the balance of power still in the enemy's favor at 9 minutes of straight-up combat. Our HP is just in slivers for most of our units, and this is going to be a do-or-die moment for the ZHARTROMM clan and Throng. Still, the gyrocopters are working overtime in the background, charging every single unit that they can that's routing, but it'll be Sigvald leading the Chaos Spawn and Trolls that are going to decide this particular battle. We're going to try to back away our single unit of Grudge Rakers, as they could probably do a decent bit of damage to these monstrous units. And our unbreakable unit of Dragonfire Pass here are still holding. Warriors of Dragonfire Pass. Not many of them left here. Stand Your Ground is active from Stochel, who has joined the fray to lead them as well. And our leftmost unit of Longbeards with Great Axes have joined in to try to help out against those spawn. There's those Gyrocopters still putting in the work in the background. We got some Chariots and Doggos returning with slivers of HP of their own, but fortunately the Grudge Rakers are ready for that, exploding the Chariots and sending the Doggos packing once more, but probably still routing and not shattering. Get a couple more shots into their back, and that will do it. The Exalted Hero Villatresca returning once more, and damn, this is going to be close. The balance of power now at 50%, roughly. Looks like the Warriors of Dragonfire Pass are down to a mere 369 HP and 10 units. Still, their axes held high and their flames not going out as they hold, together with Stochel himself, completely surrounded by piles of Chaos Spawn. Sigvald is running around chasing off our range units and basically our artillery crews, though at this point they've completely run out of ammunition and have had to actually join the fight as melee troops instead. We managed to place our Grim Delvers Grudge Rakers into position, and they are now firing upon the enemy trolls that, together with the Chaos Spawn, are trying to bring down Stochel in his last stand with the Warriors of Dragonfire Pass, but it looks like those shots are starting to dish out the damage, knocking out trolls, who are probably not super happy about the fire damage on the Warriors of Dragonfire Pass either, and our leftmost unit of Longbeards still working. Ooh, bounce power at about 70% finally switches to our favor in Sigvald, despite his full HP. Seeing 2.5 stacks of Chaos Warriors break, will finally himself break as well. Damn, that was close. I mean, we probably could have killed off Sigvald with all of this. We're certainly damaged, but Stochel still had about half HP and is unbreakable. Plus there was that one unit of Longbeards with great weapons who do have armor piercing, unlike the rest of our regular dwarf warriors. What a close frickin' fight. Damn. Well, we're going to do our best to chase off the enemy, and our gyrocopters will continue in that light as well. They did a pretty great job also making sure that not only did a lot of the enemies run off and shatter rather than just break, but they also reduced a lot of their numbers to below revivable state. So hopefully we won't have to deal with the units again. As we're so damaged, it remains to be seen whether we can actually conquer the settlement after all of these units, or after all of these armies are defeated. Let's find out. Ooh, alrighty. You know, that might have been one of my favorite battles, and I don't mean of the campaign, I mean of all time. That was so damn close and so down to the wire. That was absolutely magnificent. 2 and, I don't know, a third, actually nearly a half, nearly 2.5 stacks led by Sigvald versus this army. And, oh damn, I didn't even realize he had a lot of veterancy on his units as well. What a frickin' fun fight. Unfortunately, we had to sacrifice one of our hell cannons, but they will be rebuilt harder and stronger and burnier. The Grim Delvers were really helpful in this particular battle as they knock out a few high value key targets. The Gyrocopters, they didn't do a lot of damage, but what they did do was something that the rest of the Dwarfen army could not, which was basically keep running around for the entire battle, chasing down enemy units that were broken but not yet shattered. This was really key to this particular victory. And of course, our Longbeards held the line. They are the ones that are supposed to eventually replace all the dwarf warriors in this army, so good for them. We're going to replenish, obviously. There's not much left. I hesitate to wonder whether we can auto-resolve the remnants of this battle. I would imagine not, but we'll see. I would like to finish this up. No, I don't kill anything. Fantastic, auto-resolve that. And 8 losses, that's just fine. And we will, I guess, loot and occupy, get a little bit of that money back, because we are going to have to... well, A, keep fighting, but B, re-recruit some of the units here. We have 3 global recruitment available to us, so we can get 3 dwarf warriors back. So 1, 2, and 1, 2. 1, 2, 3. Now down to only 2 flame cannons, but we'll be able to build them in Malakai's army relatively soon. In fact, we could either wait to go to 16, or we could start on this and have new flame cannons available within the next few turns. And frankly, if we really wanted to, then we could get Iron Drakes for that army as well. I think that deserves a reward. So let's start on the Iron Drakes first, and then let's... Oh, wow. Wait, this is only tier 2. Just wait a second. We can actually build this really easily. Elsewhere, oh, but it'll take 6 turns there. Okay, we could build it really easily here, for example, which would be considerably closer. 3 turns. I mean, it's not that Malakai's super far. We'd have to, for example, delete the building at the monolith, or if we were to take the monolith of Catan, we could build it there. Huh. Rather than bothering with having Malakai do it, while Malakai can get another flame cannon, or possibly 2 flame cannons. You know what, I kind of like that idea more. Plus, this will give us access to organ guns relatively soon as well. Man, what a fight. What a fight. Anyway, we will... On the other hand, we could do this right now and then have them next turn. I wonder if they take 1 or 2 turns to build, though. It'd certainly be nice in that army. We could also start upgrading the main line and start getting some Longbeards for that army as well. There's potential for a lot of things. You know what, we're gonna start with the Iron Drakes, and then we'll see about other stuff later. Anyway, obviously, with that glorious battle, we are out of time, and I'm gonna call the episode here. Next time, Mr. Sonori will march down to the scaling and destroy them and grab a few islands, and then hopefully deal with Festus before starting to move either this way, or, well, actually, maybe to completely deal with Festus so that the Empire is relatively safe. Stochel, Jarbeard, and the ZHARTROMM clan have only just begun, and they have a lot more work ahead of them, so there's a lot more things to burn, and burn they shall over the next few episodes. Anyway, or until the end of the campaign, I hope, assuming that they don't get wiped out if I keep putting them into such situations, though Stochel is now immortal as well, so his flame will go on regardless. Anyway, more of this to come, so stay tuned. Don't forget to leave those likes and comments below, especially to Threshold. All glory to the algorithm. Thanks for watching.